So let's talk about text. Let's go out of edit mode. Let's hit Control N, and we'll just grab that polymesh star. We'll go into edit mode here. So we have a menu docked over here. If you double click these dividers down, ZBrush 4R8P2, that'll open and close them. But I'm going to take this left one here. The brush menu is in there. I can just go ahead and get rid of that just by clicking that little white circle. And I'm going to take the Z plugin and just drag that on over here. So with this, let's go to the text 3D and vector shapes. Incidentally, if you go to that YouTube link I sent out, we have the ZBrush to Keyshot bridge. You can also use this. You're going to see there is an SVG option here. So this is how, let me see if I've got it. If you go to modeling the logo here, we basically brought in an SVG file. So here we are doing text, and then here we are, we brought in the logo, and then we kind of cleaned it up using Booleans and stuff. So that's another option for you. So if you don't have the font or you have an SVG file of their asset, then you can just create that. But we're just going to use text. I mean, I guess I can bring that in if you want to talk about SVGs. I just don't have a lot of SVGs on file, although let's do this. SVG logos. There's a cool website I used. Not GitHub, flat icon, SVG, SVG porn, simple icons. Okay, and I'll try this. Go to simpleicons.org and let's just pick one. Let's see if we've got one that's relevant. Okay, I'm going to grab this YouTube one here. So I'm going to click it. You're going to see it's down. Oh, hold on. You're going to see it's downloading youtube.svg. What we can do is we can do some text. We can also do an SVG. Let's start with the SVG first. So I'm going to say new SVG. I'm going to go to my downloads page and we'll go ahead and grab our YouTube SVG. So now what we have is we have our polymesh star. We don't need that anymore. I'm going to select it, hit delete. And now we've got our SVG here. And now with this one, let's see if we can go into the extrusion. We can do, will it change the resolution? Yeah. So you can change the resolution, the extrusion. You can add a bevel to it. And on that bevel, if you change the resolution of that bevel, same thing for text, that'll give you a little more resolution. Let's go ahead and change that bevel. Really bevel it up. And you're going to see right along here, we have a bevel resolution of 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we go into curvature here, we can curve it out and make it kind of, it'll bubble out there. We can also go to a negative curvature here and bubble it in. If you want more control over that, you can go, you know what, bevel of 0, or no, wait, you want a bevel of a high bevel, but no bevel resolution. And that'll go ahead and gray out your curvature. And then what you can do, because it's giving you an edge loop, you can go in here and you go to insert multiple edge loops, turn on interactive elevation, and then you can just manually go in here and you can like bevel this out or drag in and bevel it in and then add your own resolution for whatever you want. So if you want to bevel it out a lot or a little bit, or just, you know, there's a subtle bevel and you only want like 1 or 2, you can quickly go in and do that. Once you've done that, in order to get that bevel perfectly on the other side, just go ahead and just tap on that edge, and then I'll go ahead and bevel it out and maintain the same properties that you just dialed in. So there you go, SVGs. If we want to add text, we can do that, I think, with any polymesh object. So we can go back to our polymesh star, or we can just leave it here. It's just going to append the text. So if we go here to new text, we're going to type made, oops, caps lock and it kicked me out. Type made in, you know what, let's just do made in ZBrush, and we can move that down. So now we have our logo here. If we don't need this anymore, we can just hit delete, and now we have made in ZBrush, and it inherited the properties that we just dialed in. So let's go ahead and change this bevel here. I do want a bevel, but maybe not a super strong one. And let's go ahead and say the bevel resolution of 3, and we'll say the curvature of maybe 0.3. There we go. So if we turn off our polyframe here, here's our text. Let's look at a few more options. We have adaptive turned on. If I turn that off, that's going to give me more evenly divided geometry. You know, if you want less polygons maintaining the same shape, you can do adaptive on. If you turn it off, you'll get more polygons, but it might be easier to manipulate if you want to dive in and start sculpting on it or Z-modeling it. It'll give you more geometry to kind of work with. So, you know what, I guess I'll leave that on. It's not like I'm really worried about resources within ZBrush. It can handle multi-billions of polygons, no problem. So I think we're in good shape. So we've got our text here, and we've got made in ZBrush. The only problem is I want made in to be on the top line, and then ZBrush to be on the bottom line. Not a huge deal. We can change that. I mean, one easy way to change it is to hold down Control. And in ZBrush 4R8, if you hold down Control, if you don't have anything masked, hold down Control, hold down Alt, And that'll go ahead and mask everything else and unmask that. Then we just use our gizmo and just pop that underneath. Before we do that, let's go over here and say, you know what, I want to edit this text. You can go and edit this text. You say made in ZBrush. You can go ahead and edit your text. If you're like, you know what, I don't want to do that. And it's not a big deal. We can actually get rid of that text too by just deleting hidden. But so that's where you can edit your text here. What else we got? Oh, you can change the font. You can click on here and you can go through made in ZBrush. That'll work. You can also go in here if any of these fonts have different types of, regular, bold, italic, you can just select it from down here. Apparently Noto Sans doesn't, so I'm just going to leave it alone. Go to Subtool here. Let's hit delete. And also, just so you can see, we can do vertical text, we can do reverse text. So all those options are for you. Let's go ahead and just add a little more extrusion, add a little bevel, add a little bevel resolution, and add a little curvature. There we go, back where we started. So now if we're happy with this, we can go ahead and position this text how we want. So I'm going to hold down Control, again Control, and then Alt and drag over that ZBrush here, and we can move this down. If you want these to be in separate subtools at this point, you could just go to your split unmask points or split mask points, and that'll split your mask points into another location. Actually, you know what, before we do that, you know what, we'll live with this. So I'm going to go to Subtool here. We're going to go to this Polymesh star. We're going to delete that. And I'm going to turn on polyframe so I can see what I'm doing. And again, we'll do, let's see, a little more resolution. We'll go to a little bevel res, little curvature. This will be the text that we want to punch out. You know what, that bevel's a little strong. Let's bevel that a little less. There we go. So, made in ZBrush. Let's go ahead and mask this. And then we'll drag it underneath. And if I want to change the spacing in between made and in, that's again just Control Alt drag W. I can hit this, hold down Alt and go to center unmasked, center to unmasked mask. We can pull this in. Now this is getting a little bit tight, so we can just move that over. And if we want to, we can also go to the center of this unmasked mesh, and we can scale this up just a little bit if we want to even this out. We don't have to. You could also change the spacing in between all these, but that might not be ideal. So we've got our text in here anyways, and instead of going in here to the extrusion, what I can do is I can just go in here and I can scale this out. But as I'm scaling this out, you're going to see my bevel is getting wider. So what I can also do is hold down Control Alt and then W and just pull these out. That'll make it more extruded and keep my bevel the same.